Everyone. I hope you are doing well. Well, welcome to the fourth lecture of this Learn Power BI course. So now we uh, so now we will explore some of the important features in transform data or the or what we call it as the Power Query Editor. So before that, I would need to upload some certain data just to showcase what sort of changes that we are required to do once we get the data either from the client or from the ETL team. So here I have imported the athletes table. If I'll click on it, this is fine. However, when we will click on athletes table, you will see that there are certain discrepancies like the column 1, column 2, and the columns are coming in the next rows. Also, the the names of the athletes and in which sports they specialize, they are coming more of a concatenated. So these sort of general issues we encounter sometimes while importing data. So instead of loading, we would click on transform data. Just a second, the screen is loading. Okay. So now we have imported the athletes table and it is showing now in the Power Query Editor. So as here you can see that the column names are coming as a bit odd or a bit different. When you will, whatever changes you will make to the database from here, and it will make changes in the backend. Whatever however, you will click here, and you will get to know certain things about the data. Like just a second. When you make changes to the data, you can right click here, and you can get to see the language working behind Power BI. Here in Power BI, the main language that we use is the data analysis expression DAX, which will be covered in the next few lectures. However, in the backend, the language which works is the mQuery. We don't need to learn mQuery because that is the backend language, the assistant generated language. However, it is good to know. So we will make certain changes to the data. Like we can see that in the second row, it is showing as null. So what we can do is select this row and then click on remove rows. Here we can specify how many rows? I think just one. And we need to remove this one also. As we removed two rows, you can see that it has come here that what steps we have performed. Now the first row contains subtitles such as name, sport, nationality, age, what weight category the athletes have performed, and what is their height. We will use this option, use first row as headers. When we will click on this option, the first row will become the title of the columns. When we click on this one, here it has become more appropriate to look and use. However, if we see here, the names are coming as first name, last name, then the combined sport and overall some values are showing as null. So this data uh, we would arrange. When you click on any column, you can right click from here, and you need to choose this option, split column by delimiter. So delimiter is something that splits or reduces the data into a usable form. Like in Excel, we have an option to reduce the number of decimals behind an integer, or split one column into two columns based on certain characters or attributes. So once we will click on delimiter, it will ask us that if we are sure to implement a delimiter. Once we click on insert, it will ask us from which side do we want to split the delimiter, whether from the left hand side, right hand side, or we want any specific character or form of delimiter like a space, equal sign, semicolon, comma. So for now, we would click on the leftmost delimiter and select OK. Now you would see that the first name and the last name have got split. Same we would do for this one. Now we need to replace certain values so that the null values get excluded from the database. We need to click on replace values. In the replace value option, this will ask what sort of value we are finding and what do we need to replace it with. So here I'm replacing it with null as not applicable. So these are some of the options that uh, we we can perform using a delimiter. Before we click on close and apply, we can either create new queries by importing any data from any new cells, and we can merge the data from that table to the current table using the options like merge query and append query. So merge query takes data rows wise, whereas append query takes data column wise. Any operation such as addition of column, remove column, split column by delimiter, and also we can check uh, our data source of which type. Like in the previous lecture, I mentioned that data can come from SQL, data can come from Excel workbook or the CSV file. So we can also check in what form the or in which extension the data has come from. So that's basically all about Power Query Editor. If you have a date and you want to format the date as per, let's say, Indian format or the USA format, so that sort of backend operations you can perform through here. And when we will click on close and apply, the pending changes will take some time to load. I think there is some issue with the column query. So because we removed the column one, so that's why it is showing as column of the table could not be found. So what we do is we discard the changes, whatever we have done. And this is all about the Power Query Editor. This will be very useful to you when you will be receiving data from the client and to clean it, modify it, so that you can use it for further analysis. You can also check the data type of your columns, such as currencies or any cost. If it is in number, you can change the data type from integer to text, uh, or let's say a text to uh, some other some other parameter. So uh, that for majorly that purpose the Power Query Editor is used. So that's all for now. For the for the next lecture, we will be starting with buttons and using these visualizations. We will be live making a dashboard with a button, setting its navigations. We will we will also be using the filter pane here. We will be dragging and dropping fields into the filters and shortlisting results. And the last step, we will be in we will be entering the format view where I will be changing the background and showing you from where you can change the pixels. Either you can customize it, or you can choose anyone which is right here. Uh, okay, so see you in the next lecture. Thank you.